Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. Happy Saturday to you, man. Hopefully you're having a blessed day. But here we go. The Knicks have another chance, ladies and gentlemen, to get to 500. It's been a process so far this season. You know, we were 5-3 at one point, then we fell below 500. We continue to fight back. We've never been able to get to that 500 mark. Hopefully we can get to that 500 mark tonight. The Knicks play at 8 o'clock tonight versus the Indiana Pacers, ladies and gentlemen. And the Pacers last night, they had a battle with the Boston Celtics. They lost that battle to the Boston Celtics in a tight game. And now they play tonight versus the Knicks in another hard game. Listen, the Pacers are going to be motivated to get this win because they know 2 losses can definitely hurt them with such a tight playoff race. So they're going to be ready to battle. The Knicks got to be ready for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The third time that the Knicks will be playing the Pacers this season. The third time they're playing this season. So we got to be ready. We got to be ready to come out, play some hard-nosed defense. Hopefully the offense can hum the way it was humming the last game. We will find out. Let's get to it. Let's start breaking this game down and, welcome the panel into the session today. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. The Knicks versus Pacers, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Divine, what's poppin' with you? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, brother. What's going on with the panel? Salute to the chat. Big game today, man. I'm excited, man. Glad to be here. I'm ready to roll, brother. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, I'm with you. Steph, how you feeling today?
I feel pretty good. Excited about the opportunity to get to 500. I was just telling my family, leave me alone. Everybody want to say, oh, it's just 500. You don't know what I've been through, man. So I'm excited, for this opportunity.
Exactly. Nate, what's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Yeah, man. Watched the Pacers last night play the Celtics, and that was a good game. Pacers are a hard, gritty team, and this is going to feel like a playoff game tonight. I really do feel like, both these teams are vying for positions and all that, and so the Pacers are a little undermanned, but you couldn't tell. I mean, they've been playing really well together.
Yeah. It's going to be a battle for sure. It's going to be a battle tonight. A game that I think. It's gonna test the mettle of the Knicks, right? Not only are they fighting for this playoff positioning, but they're also battling to get the 500. Tonight's one of those games where they can prove their relevancy in the league. Andy, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up? Like you said, Sim, this is a very important game. They can, test themselves and show off, in the league. And, like I said, many times before, very important game because we are playing, versus a East Coast rival that's fighting with us for that playoff berth, right? So every game is, extra important in this case.
Yeah. And last night, like Nate just said, or whoever it was, I think it was Nate, talked about the game last night, and it was a battle for those guys, right? I mean, you knew Boston was going to come out desperate last night because they've been on a 3-game skid. They're playing underwhelming basketball. So you knew they were going to come out desperate, and they came out to prove that they needed to get that win, and they got it. And, they had performances from, finally Kemba Walker came out and played some basketball last night for the Celtics. He had 32 points last night, 6 assists. They have been needing Kemba Walker to get on track, and this might be exactly what they needed one of these games. We'll see if he can start to make a difference for them guys. Jeff Teague played well last night. He had 14 points. Robert Williams had 14 points. Jason Tatum surprisingly only had 9 points, and they were able to pull out that victory last night.
Right.
And Jaylen Brown, he had 15. So, the Celtics may be looking to try to get themselves back on. Well, we know they're looking to get themselves back on track. And we'll see if they're getting back on track. For the Pacers last night, Domantas Sabonis, he had 24 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. basically doing his all-star thing. He's now on the all-star team because Kevin Durant, he's got a hamstring issue. They're not going to rush him back to playing the all-star game for sure. They want him to rest. I don't even think he's playing the rest of this first half of the season. I think Kevin Durant's out for the remainder of this first half, and they'll look at him coming back after the all-star break. Miles Turner had 17 points and 10 rebounds last night. He also had 3 blocks. Justin Holiday had 19 points. Malcolm Brogdon had 12 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. This is going to be a battle for sure. And Aaron Holiday, he played well. He had 15 points last night. It's definitely going to be a battle. The Pacers shot 39% from the field. They shot 32.6% from 3. It was a long, tough game. I'm hoping that their legs are a little bit weary and that it's going to benefit the Knicks, Divine, what's your outlook, just initially, what's your outlook for the game and what you think we need to do to get this victory?
First and foremost, man, salute to the chat, man. Salute to the panel. NBK, man, y'all run amok with them thumbs up, man. It's Nick Saturday, man. We trying to get it. My outlook on the game, Sim, is I think we're gonna get this, bro. I really feel that we're gonna do this. I just think that the game we played the other day just brought a lot of confidence to the team. I know it's Sacramento, but I still think it brought a lot of confidence to our team. And it seemed like Alex Burks, like I was telling the panel earlier, Alex Burks was like he was the Alex Burks at the beginning of the season. You know what I mean? If he could continue that game tonight and quickly continue that game, it's going to be a tough game, but I truly believe that the energy that they had to put up against Boston last night, somewhere in the second half, that might start to catch up to them. You know what I mean? Especially when you're banging against Julius Randle and Derrick Rose with all that speed and energy. Matt Brogdon had to chase Kemba Walker last night. He had to chase Derrick Rose tonight. So I'm looking to see where his energy is at, and I think the big outcome of the game is going to be their energy compared to us. And if they had a tough game last night and they kept competing and fighting real hard by the third quarter, you might start seeing it catch up to them. So it's going to be a battle, man. Sabonis and Julius Randle, obviously they're going to cancel each other out, and we just need to have Derrick Rose have another game. RJ have the same game he had the other day. Maybe with a little bit more scoring. I love the game he played yesterday, man. So yesterday, the day before yesterday. So if RJ Barrett can give us that level of game that he played the other day, Reggie Bullock can come to the forefront with a couple of more buckets like he did. I really think the Knicks gonna be 500 tonight, and Frank Ntilikina gonna hit that double digit. So I'm gonna push this chat.
Boy.
I'm pushing this chat to 1,000 tonight.
Frank time, baby.
Frank double digits. Knicks win. The chat go crazy. MBK is in the house tonight. We wilding. So let's get me up. On a real note, man, I think that if we just play our A game, Sim, I think our defense gonna really put us on a point tonight because, like I said, they played last night. So they go up against our defense at the game like that. I really believe it might be a good look, though.
Okay. Hey, listen, if Frank Ntilikina has double digits tonight, the Frank Hive is going to go crazy. They're going to be buzzing. It's going to be all over the place.
Love the Frank talk. Make me smile,
hey, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I want Frank to do his thing. The one thing that scares me about, the way that we played against Sacramento and being so hot against Sacramento is that then you come, normally averages balance out, right? Mm-hmm. And what scares me is that we were so hot against Sacramento that we go the opposite direction today. Does that bother you at all, Steph?
Yeah, it does. And part of that is also that Indiana's defense is much better than Sacramento. So, yeah. I mean, listen, our defense is going to be there most nights, but it's our offense. And that's the only thing that concerns me going into these games. Who's showing up behind Randall, and we don't really have, it's by committee, so to speak. So yes, I am concerned about our offense tonight. Having Derrick Rose in the starting lineup should help us. I think his shooting helps us, but I also think what's underrated is his playmaking. Like just how he's getting the ball to people for easy shots and easy looks. So I noticed that in the last game. Hopefully that helps us get off to a good start.
Yeah. Andy, does it concern you?
It concerns me, but I also think that Indiana is the kind of team that we can get a W because, we won the 5 out of last 7 games with them. And I know this is, might be a little bit far-fetched because the roster changed and switched up, right? But these 7 games is last 2 seasons. So, basically the core of the roster was the same on probably both sides, right? The only difference is from the game that we won last time is we don't have Mitch Robinson and in the center, right? That might be a problem, but also I think many of us were thinking that Mitch going down is going to be a huge downgrade. Playing Netherlands Noel at the center, but as we saw, it's not that bad. They have a little bit of different skill set. But I think they also complement, the rest of the starting 5, and I think we can handle the Pacers. I think like Divine said, probably Sabonis and Randall gonna cancel out. I think Randall even has an edge over him. I just hope there's not going to be that one sneaky player on the Pacers that nobody expects that's going to give us 18, 20 points versus the Knicks, because we saw that in the past happening, right?
Right.
So I don't know, a Dougie McDermott getting hot or something like that.
Well, Doug. He had 6 points last night. He wasn't crazy.
Yeah,
to what they played 9 guys last night, I think. And everyone who played got at least 15 minutes. So they're going 9 deep into their bench. And I mean, the bench, you got TJ McConnell, who always seems to kill the Knicks for some reason. He always kills the Knicks. So watch out for that guy. They got Jeremy Lamb, Aaron Holiday, Edmund Sumner. Because of injuries, a lot of their bench has had to move to the starting lineup, right? So now, Doug McDermott is a starter instead of T.J. Warren. With Karis LeVert not being available, after the trade, now Justin Holiday moves from the bench to the starting lineup. So their bench may be a little weaker than it normally would be, right? Because they don't have the same amount of depth as in the past. So, hopefully our bench, and if Quickly comes to, I don't want to say comes to play, he always comes to play. If Quickly is hot tonight, then, our bench, hopefully we can outscore their bench, make them have to use their starters even a little bit more than maybe they want to, and keep those legs looking weary. You know what I'm saying? It's always an X factor with us with how the bench looks. But the one thing I will say is, if Elfrid Payton is out tonight, and I know they talked about him yesterday, he was doing a lot of work, to try to get back. But if Elfrid Payton is out tonight, then maybe that floor is opened up a little bit more for Emmanuel Quickly to just do his thing. I think, he plays best when he has the ball in his hands and he can be, he has a high percentage of the touches. I think his usage rate is like the highest on the team right now. 30% or whatever it is, and of course that doesn't mean he's out there with the, with the bench. So it's not with Julius Randle and RJ Barrett and those guys, but when he's on his floor, his usage rate is really, really high. And being in that second unit without someone else who's going to take those touches probably benefits him. But Nate, who do you see, for the Knicks can be an X factor tonight? Who do you see for the Knicks can be an X factor tonight? Who can step up, and really play well. Yeah, I mean, I think Alec Burks is going to be the guy. I think a lot is going to ride on Alec Burks.
I mean, Burks is probably the consensus one. I'm going to go ahead and say Frank, man, because here's the deal. Brogdon is a tough play against Rose, and he's a hell of a shooter. And I think if you put Frank's length on Brogdon, he at least can disrupt him enough. So I think Frank, I think he's going to be the X factor. I think he's going to make some shots that we're not expecting for him to make. But I think the defense is really where we're going to see him play well, because like I said, I don't know if Rose can guard Brogdon. Brogdon is a tough defender. He's a big guy. He can shoot. He can take you to the cup. Very underrated player. So I think Frank is probably, in my opinion, going to be the X factor. I think Tibbs was impressed with him in the last game, and I think you're going to see more burn from him as long as Peyton's not playing. And then Tibbs is going to have to decide on something.
Now, do you think that because what we've seen from Tibbs in the past is, he kind of, if Elfrid Payton was out, if let's say De'Aaron Fox was out there and Elfrid Payton was on the floor, then once De'Aaron Fox went out the game, Elfrid Payton went out the game, right? And then when De'Aaron Fox came back, Elfrid Payton would come back. Do you think Frank is even going to get much time to play against Brogdon?
I mean, it's a possibility. It just all depends on, it seems like every time we play the Pacers, Brogdon always has a really good game, and he always shoots well from three. So it's going to depend on Derrick Rose's defense. And the fact is that, we talk about Derrick Rose not playing a lot of minutes. This is perfect for Frank. I would definitely, if I'm Tibbs, I would definitely play Frank a lot more in this game, because just so you don't wear out Derrick Rose so he can make baskets on the offensive end, you put Frank in to disrupt Brogdon, because, Frank is not going to score a lot of points. He's going to be in there mostly for defense and effort. I just don't want to wear out Derrick Rose, or if Derrick Rose gets in foul trouble because he's guarding Brogdon, then you have a guy like Frank who can play more minutes and is fresh.
Right. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Tom Thibodeau's worried about wearing out Derrick Rose. He played him 27 minutes the last game, and if it wasn't a blowout, he would have played more minutes, I think.
I agree with you, and that's why I was kind of like, when you were talking earlier about not playing him 30 minutes, I'm like, this is Tibbs' guy. I mean, I'm telling you, man, they traded him for a reason. I mean, they want this guy to start. I get Peyton's playing well, but they want this guy to start. And you see the first game, him starting, the pace looked good. The ball was moving. We just got to tighten up the defense.
And we also played the Sacramento Kings. That's why, a lot, we'll see tonight if it looks the same because we played the Kings. So I think, Obi Toppin could have been starting that point guard, and you might have still seen the same pace. Who knows? Go ahead, Andy.
Come on, man.
Yes, I just want to add, the idea about putting a guy like Reggie Bullock versus, Brogdon, and leave D Rose chasing, Justin Holiday around. I know Holiday isn't small, but he's, a little bit lightweight. Mm-hmm. He knows him from I think even they played together in Chicago, if I'm correct. Yeah. But I don't know if you noticed that Tibbs isn't that kind of guy that mixes and matches and hides his hides his more valuable players versus weaker guys on the opposite team. We saw that greatly in the Golden State game. Tibbs didn't budge. We covered position by position. Meanwhile, Steph Curry was chasing around a guy that wasn't basically taking shots even. I don't know if you noticed that. They weren't playing like point guard versus point guard, shooting guard versus shooting guard, and the rest. Meanwhile, Tibbs is consistent in that. And, I'm wondering if he's going to, budge on that thing, having D Rose in the, in the starting lineup, or he's still going to ride with the point guard versus point guard, shooting guard versus shooting guard and stuff. Because I could tremendously see an upside getting Reggie Bullock versus a guy like Brogdon. Brogdon, he isn't that fast, but he's strong. He has great fundamentals. So he's not, neither fast nor but he's a great fundamentally player, and he's bigger than D Rose. So that might be, something better to stop him and disrupt their offense just at the beginning. Put a Reggie Bullock on him. Meanwhile, leave D Rose to chase, a Justin Holiday, or Dougie McDermott even around the court, because he's faster and he slides through those screens and stuff. That might be an idea. I wonder if they're going to consider it or.
Right, and listen, that's a good idea, especially with a guy like Justin Holiday, because while Justin Holiday, he can shoot the ball and he's longer, he's not gonna back Derrick Rose down because he's probably not stronger than him, right? So he's not gonna back him down and post him up, and Derrick Rose can get like right underneath him and maybe even disrupt his shooting motion. Not even allow him to get into that shooting motion. So, that could be a way that Thibodeau, adjusts the lineups. We will see. I don't know, from everything that I've seen so far, Elfrid Payton looks like he's probably going to be out today. I would think he's going to be out tonight. Just for a little bit of extra assurance, to make sure that his hamstring is where it wants to be, right? You don't want to take a chance and, you mess around, say, all right, yeah, I think I can go just because, and then, bam, you pull it, right? You want to make sure it's as strong as it can be. And they probably do want to get another look at Derrick Rose in that starting lineup before they just, pull Elfrid Payton and everything from that lineup. They probably want to get another look at it and see how it looks. And how it looks against a good defensive team. The last time that we played the Pacers, and okay, that was nope. I thought I seen an update on Knicks PR, but that was from Thursday. The last time the Knicks played the Pacers, we beat them 106-102. The game before that, we lost 121-107. Now, of course, the first game we played them, that was the first game of the season. All right, so, a lot of things has changed since then. A lot of things have changed since we beat them 106-102. The only thing that's consistent is both times we scored around 106, 107 points, right? So we're averaging for the season 106.5 points per game versus the Indiana Pacers. Now, the first game that we played them, let's see, they had T.J. Warren. He only had 5 points that game. Domantas Sabonis went crazy. He had 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. Miles Turner had 8 blocks that first game. Victor Oladipo had 22 points. They no longer have Victor Oladipo. Malcolm Brogdon had 21. Dougie McDermott came off the bench, and he had 13. That was the first game that we played them. The second game we played them, they had more balanced scoring. Malcolm Brogdon had 33. He played 41 minutes. He had 33 points and 7 assists. Victor Oladipo had 16. Miles Turner had 17. Domantas Sabonis had 13 points and 13 rebounds. He didn't shoot many shots. He was 4 for 8 from the field. And then Justin Holiday came off the bench and had 12 points. And Dougie McDermott, he had 9 points. It's crazy. He had 9 points. He didn't have any rebounds, no assists, no steals, no blocks, no turnovers, and no personal fouls. Dougie McDermott. Just straight up, just 9 points.
You shot threes.
So this is definitely going to look different because the starting lineups are going to be very different. The benches are going to be very different than, what they were in the past. So this is almost a totally different game than what we've done against them before. Totally different game. I haven't seen them since Victor Oladipo hasn't been there. Right, how are they filling that void? Have you seen them at all? Steph, have you seen them at all? How are they filling that void? Then I'm going to come to Kev because, I see Kev is riding somewhere.
Which void? I'm sorry.
Victor Oladipo. I guess it's Justin Holiday.
Has been in a. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they go back and forth. Aaron Holiday, or there's been times when McDermott has been in the starting lineup as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just filling until Karras gets healthy.
Right, and I don't think he's getting healthy this season.
And T.J. Warren.
He's not. And T.J. Warren, right? And
T.J.
Warren
he's already getting ready to practice.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Warren.
T.J. Warren's still in a boot.
He's back.
They said he should.
I don't think he's back.
No, T.J. Warren's not back for this game. He's not back for this game. I'm not sure. I don't know if LeVert is going to be. He's not playing this game. I don't know if he's going to play this season. We'll see. But T.J. Warren.
They said he's already getting ready. He's been working out and all that.
Okay. T.J. Warren, he's still in the boot. So, he's not going to be playing tonight. You know, when you look at these guys, you look at their points per game. Let me see. Indiana is 15th in the league in points per game at 113.2. Right, you know, what is that like since they haven't had Victor Oladipo? I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to go take a look at that. But I'm pretty sure they're still scoring around their same average, right? Because they've done a good job using Doug McDermott and those guys to fill that void. It's not the same as having Victor Oladipo, but I guess they figured that they were okay without him. That's why they weren't afraid to move him. Right? Defensively, the Indiana Pacers right now, they rank 12th in the league, 110.4. Their defensive rating is 110.4. So we'll see. We're gonna do a little stats comparison in a second. Kev, what's going on, man? What's your outlook on today's game?
Frank, and more Frank.
That's what you did.
Exactly.
Answer for everything.
Right.
I ain't got to say nothing else. I ain't got to say nothing. The only person on this panel that was with me was Nate. Nate was the only one that was with
I've
me.
always been on Frank, man. Even when he's not playing, I want him to play.
Exactly.
You know that from day one. From day
That's
one,
what
man. I love Frank.
That's what
That's
I
my
just
boy.
said. Nate was the only one that was with me. He was the only one. And that proved our point on that night. And
I was your boy, man.
What point did it prove?
What point did it prove?
Yeah.
Defensively,
That he got playing time. You said he wasn't
But
going to
we know he could do this, though. It's not like it's no surprise. He's always had good games like this. So I don't see what he proved, though.
Here's the thing. If he duplicates or does more tonight, I guarantee you he'll be part of the rotation. I guarantee it.
Is Alfred
Okay.
playing?
Well, here we go. This is what I'm going to say. And I don't know if you read it, but they asked Tom Thibodeau, will you consider expanding the lineup? And he said no. He said, I think 10 is a good rotation. Everybody else is situational.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If he sees how much the miseducation of Frank is put into this, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's gonna rethink that. That's common sense.
Okay.
That's
I don't think
right
so.
there.
I think he's staying with a 10 rotation. Now, if Frank is in that 10-man rotation, cool. But he's staying with a 10-man rotation. He's not going deeper than that unless it's a blowout.
Okay, then here's the other thing. If he stays with that, somebody's losing his minutes. And I guarantee you it'll be Alfred. Because he's not going to put his boy away. He's not going to put Rose away. And if he sees that if he sees that that Frank makes a humongous difference on both sides of the floor, he's going to keep him in. I'm telling you, he's going to keep him in. I'm telling you.
What? I'm not high on Frank, but I'm high on Devon, Andy, Kevin, and Nate. If that's your guy, man, I hope he does get more time. You know?
Listen,
Frank is my guy, but when Kev said it, I'm just upset because we know that his words never prove us anything. So that's why I'm going to be sad.
Kev, the thing is, I am a Frank fan. I have Frank. I have rookie cards. I am a Frank fan. But still.
It's blasphemy that you guys are still going to be against that if he does.
Not against it.
I'm not against Frank.
If he plays well, then
I'm not against
rock.
Frank. I'm not against Frank. I'm not against Frank getting minutes. I just believe that Tom Thibodeau has his 10-man rotation, and you got guys that are situational, and he's going to play them in certain situations.
If he does more, for these 2 games, if he does more and beyond, I guarantee you it will not be situational because he's going to be like, you know what? I got to get this guy in the game. Kevin,
I'll say this, man. The only way that Frank gets into the rotation when Peyton gets back is if he decides to put Toppin out of the rotation, which I think that's coming soon. I have a feeling that I think he's going to pull Toppin.
You think so?
I'm sorry.
I think so.
Why would he pull Toppin? We need size right now.
Yeah, the Knicks are already thin in the front court.
Right,
yeah, we need size out there.
I don't know. He doesn't get a lot of burn because of his defense. He's a real liability on defense right now.
But
I didn't even see Josh here. Hold up, Josh. Hold up, Josh. I didn't even know you was on the panel. Wasn't you the one that said that he wasn't gonna get me run? Wasn't you the one that said that?
I did say that.
Okay, all right.
I said it too. I didn't think he was going to get in. I didn't think he was going to get in, but it's cool.
The one thing.
Do you want ketchup or hot sauce on that crow of yours?
The one thing about
That's what we need right now. We need some energy. That's what's up.
The one thing about Frank that I can say is Frank can guard multiple positions. He can guard the 1, the 2, and the 3. That's going to be very valuable as we go down the line. That's why I say Toppin.
Everyone knows what Frank can do. Everyone knows.
That's why I say Toppin could very well be out of the rotation.
But listen, but also Reggie Bullock can guard the 1, the 2, and the 3.
No.
But he can't.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me finish.
He can't do what Frank does. Everybody, I saw
it's a very good.
Hold on. I want to disagree with you there, Nick. I really got to disagree with you there because you've seen how bad our defense looked when Reggie Bullock wasn't there.
Yep.
I agree, but what I'm saying is Frank could do more than what Reggie is doing.
What do you mean by more? More like what?
More like what? Defensively, those long arms, man. Come on. Steph, I didn't even say. I think that was
fine, it's fine. It's fine. No apologies.
All I'm saying,
I'm going back and forth to see who's up. I'm on my phone.
All I'm saying, Kev, is Reggie Bullock can defend multiple positions. RJ Barrett can defend multiple positions. Alec Burks can defend multiple positions. We got guys that can defend multiple positions. Frank's not the only one that can defend multiple positions. I'm not hating on Frank. I just want to temper your expectations for when Elfrid Payton comes back.
And I'm telling you, I think it's blasphemy. For you, Steph, Josh, all y'all.
I'm not hating on Frank. I mean, I like what Frank
too.
Not hating. Is what he do for this team. I think it's blasphemy. Now
I like it too. He hasn't been consistent in the past.
So let's hope we trade some players. We can get more free. Give him some more.
I think that's what's going to happen. Right there. Once that trade come down.
One at a time.
That's the only way. Or if somebody gets hurt.
We will see. Situational means you play in certain situations. And we found a situation for him to play. We'll see what happens. He should play tonight. Right? But then the game after that, we'll see.
Sim, let me ask you this. Could you see him being on Brogdon tonight? Down the stretch?
Yes.
I could see. Listen, I don't know if he's playing down the stretch. I'll be honest with you.
He played down the stretch the other game.
We were up by 20. It's not down the stretch. That's not down the stretch. Come on, man.
There was no stretch that be down.
That's not down the stretch, Kev.
We were only up by 3. As soon as he put Quickly and Frank in there, man, come on, man.
He put him in on the regular substitution rotation. He came in, but down the stretch that don't count.
Hey man, this ain't no banana in the tailpipe. All right, I'm telling you right now, he's gonna be in more. I'm telling you, he had a great day today. He's gonna be in more.
And you know what? You better come on afterwards, Kev. If he's not,
no banana in.
You better come on the post game if he's not.
When do we run?
Okay.
When do I have to run?
Okay. All right. Let me get to this phone call. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, what's going on, gents? I got to tell you, Kevin, you cracked me up, man.
I tried.
You're a funny guy. And by the way, this podcast is one of the best sports podcasts on YouTube.
Thank you.
I tell everybody about it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just wanted to jump in on Frank. So we drafted him 3 years ago, 8th overall, and the hope was that he was going to be the starting point guard of the future. And it's clear he's not the point guard of the future. But, we could still salvage something with him, I'm hoping. I'm glad he did well. I think he's going to do well today, hopefully, if he plays. But, let's say Payton gets back. I don't see Payton getting out of the rotation, and I don't see Tom Thibodeau, as he said, going to an 11-man rotation. I think Frank is competing against Alec Burks for playing time just as much as he's competing against Payton because, if Rose is going to remain the starter, do you really see Thibodeau going with IQ and Payton on that second unit together? I think you'd rather put IQ and Rose out there together with Rose off the ball or IQ off the ball. You know what I mean? I just think like Payton's competing more against Burks than Payton at this point. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there was the one interview where Tom Thibodeau said that he wanted to mix and match a little more and he wanted to use Payton and IQ together and see what they look like together. We really haven't seen it that much, maybe every once in a while for, 30, 40 seconds or a minute maybe. So we haven't really seen, what they could look like together. Yeah. Honestly, though, for me, it's hard for me with the way that Quickly plays the game. I really do think, and I'm honest with it, I think that Frank fits better next to Quickly than either Rose or Payton because he's not a heavy ball handler, right? I think having Rose or Payton out there takes away from what Quickly does and wants to do because now somebody else is sharing the ball and Quickly is a ball-dominant guard, right? Very ball-dominant guard. With that being said, I still think that Tom Thibodeau has his rotation and he's sticking to his rotations until, something really makes him say, I really have to make this change. So with that being said, I do think still, it's hard for me to say which one. I don't know if he fits, if either one of those guys fit nicely next to Emmanuel Quickly, right? So if you have to choose which one fits best, I would say probably Rose because he's a little bit more heady and probably understands a little bit better. Hey, it's time for me to, sit back a little bit. But I have seen Payton at times when he's out there with like Austin Rivers, just let Austin Rivers go ahead and be the guy. So it's hard to say. We'd have to see which one, how Tom Thibodeau decides to go about it. Now I can say this though. If Payton is out there with Quickly, it may open the floor up. You may see the lanes a little bit wider for Payton to penetrate because Payton is probably, he might be our best, between him and Rose, I guess, is our best penetrator to the basket. And you may see the lanes open up a little bit wider for Payton because Quickly can shoot the three. And maybe it's a little bit easier for Payton to make those layups or those little floaters in the lane, without so many extended, arms over him. So, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out, especially if the Knicks play well today offensively. If they play well today, it's going to be hard for Tom Thibodeau to say, let me take Rose out of that starting lineup. I think it'd be very hard because now they're going up against a good defense. And if he plays well today, then, this may be the lineup that sticks. And then we see Payton come back into that second unit. It's going to be interesting
and you
going
can
forward.
See when Thibodeau makes his substitutions, you can kind of see the tea leaves for which way he's leaning, in terms of mixing and matching. He doesn't really do like a all five at once. He'll throw in, he'll put in one guy from the A team to play with the second team to play for like a minute, you know what I mean? And then he'll do two guys, and then he'll do the other two guys, and he staggers those switches. And I think he mixes and matches how he staggers that all the time. And I think he's trying to get a different look and a different feel. So when Payton comes back, like you said, I expect him to put him in with Quickly and see how that works. Payton, he gets a lot of flack from fans, but there's been multiple games this year where the Knicks have not done anything on offense for like a half a quarter except Elfrid Payton attacking the basket.
Yep.
And I think he's got trade value on the market.
Yep. Multiple games. And people would be saying like, why is Elfrid Payton shooting the ball so much? We can't win if he's shooting the ball. But it would be games where nobody else is scoring and he's scored 6, 7 points in a row to keep the Knicks in it until Julius Randle was able to get going or someone else was able to get going. Yeah, there's been multiple games that way. As a matter of fact, the last 10 games, I think Josh said it the other day, Peyton's been the second best player on the team the last 10 games.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, so we'll see how it works out. And sometimes, even if you're a good player, you know, the lineups, you know, still could work better another way. But I think that Tom Thibodeau is at least going to give it a chance to see how that works with Peyton and Quickly, if that's what it comes to. So we will see.
Biggest game in a long time.
Yeah, it is. In a long time. Biggest game. Yeah. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting dynamic, you know, to see. And the times that I have seen Peyton and Quickly on the floor together, Quickly's been the primary ball handler, and Peyton's been off the ball. So, you know, we will see. The one thing I will say is that I think Tom Thibodeau has developed the type of culture where, you know, guys are not, at least outwardly, jealous of another player. It doesn't seem that way, right? You know, so we'll see if that continues. And, you know, Frank, he's the kind of guy, he's a team player. So if coach says it's time for you to go back to the bench, put your warm-ups back on, that's what he's going to do.
Right.
And he's probably not going to complain. And he's probably not going to complain about it. You know? He's probably not going to complain about it.
To even think that is blasphemy. To even think.
I do think Frank is better suited in that off-ball role and that two-guard role. But the thing is, I just don't see Alec Burks or you know, Reggie Bullock coming out. I just don't see Tom Thibodeau, because those are two of the veterans on the team. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Tom Thibodeau taking them in this away and putting Frank in for those guys.
Right.
I mean, I would like that. I think Frank, you know, definitely could help the team, but I just don't see Thibodeau doing it. You know?
Yeah, and you know,
and to
I do. I'll come right to you, Steph. I do agree with what he was saying, that, you know, Frank is not only competing for minutes from Elfrid Payton, but also Alec Burks. Right. So now let's say that Elfrid Payton did get put into the second unit. Now, you know, Frank would be competing with, you know, either Payton or Burks, and Burks is just more prolific than Frank, right? You know, and any night Burks can go off for 20 or 30, and I think that's what Tom Thibodeau is going to be looking at, because we need scoring, you know.
Hey, you guys are looking for any.
That was my point.
You guys are looking for any excuse not to give this kid minutes. No.
It's just
I don't think
logically.
so. But, you know, just piggybacking off of Josh and Sim, you know, in terms of Frank taking Burke minutes, we offensively challenged as it is. And our defense has been pretty good without Frank. Not that he can't help us, but it's been pretty good without Frank. I don't know if you put Frank in and take out an offensive player when we have difficulty scoring.
Unless Frank starts making more baskets or starts shooting at a higher clip. That's only past Burks.
Right. I mean, history tells you probably not. Frank scored 20 points one time in his three-year career.
Hey, Sim, I got a question.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying the truth to you, Kev, and the reasons why he's not in the lineup right now. That's it. I'm not trying to hate on the kid.
Hey, Sim, I got a question.
Yeah.
After this season, is Frank a free agent, and what's Peyton's contract again?
Restricted.
He's a restricted free agent. Depending on what happens, though, Josh. Depending on what happens, if the Knicks give a qualifying offer and he decides to take it, then he stays with the Knicks for a year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent the year after. If the Knicks offer up the qualifying offer and he denies it and thinks he can get more money out on the market, then he becomes an unrestricted. Then he becomes a restricted free agent. If the Knicks deny and decide, I'm not going to give you a qualifying offer, then they release him and he becomes an unrestricted free agent this summer. So we'll see what the Knicks decide to do.
Yeah, because I got a feeling after the season's over, they're going to have to decide between Frank and Peyton if they want to keep Frank because he's younger than Peyton, or if they want to just let Frank go and then keep Peyton. I think that's going to be the deciding. It's going to be something they're going to have to discuss in the offseason.
It's something real quick. I want to kind of get this thought in. I got to bounce for a minute, but I'll be back. I think we're going to see a move. Frank will play Cav. Soon as Oladipo come here next week, you good. Don't worry about it. You'll be all right. We're going to trade 2 players for Oladipo. Frank going to move in there. Oladipo last night, 27-5, 4 and 2 steals.
Hey, I'm cool with that. I like that.
Divine. Do it, buddy.
Cool with that.
But listen, I'll be back, Chad. I got to run, take care of the business, but I'll be back, man, to hop right back on.
Okay. And,
right.
and you know, I
got to run too, unfortunately. I'm at my destination and everything. So
yeah, he's at Frank's house, ladies and gentlemen. He's at Frank's house.
I will see you.
Hold it down for you, Kev. I'll hold it down for you, Kev. Don't worry about it. I'll defend my boy.
Thank you, Nate. I will be back on later on tonight with or without any playing time from Mr. Frank Ntilikina.
Okay.
All right?
Well, he's probably going to play tonight, but
he's going to play.
Okay, let's say this. I will be back on 0 points and 1 assist and 1 steal, or 5 steals, 10 points, and 4 rebounds. I'm out.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Okay. But look, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Frank is going to be gone, really. You know what I'm saying? Because you still need players on your team, and you still need depth on your team.
He's still young.
Right. So just because he didn't pan out to be the star that people thought maybe he could be, or your starting point guard or whatever, doesn't mean that he wouldn't have a role on the team. You just pay him what you think he's worth.
Right.
And
get
you
the
work
development staff and work with him in the offseason.
Yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's no longer going to be here on this team, really, because this is how, when you have a team that's good, this is how you begin to, this is how you grow, right? You have players that you can, now that you're better, you can say, you know what? We can let him grow and get bigger and get stronger, and then maybe when he's 23. And people look and say, oh, you got to wait that long for a player. Yeah, that's what happens with good teams. When teams are good, they have players that they've had stashed for years. And then all of a sudden they show up and you're like, whoa, where'd this guy come from? It used to be San Antonio would have guys overseas stashed for all this time. And then all of a sudden they come to, they come to play in the NBA and you're like, where'd this guy come from? We haven't had the luxury of doing that. Every guy that we've had to try to put him out there and hope that he was going to explode right away. You know what I'm saying? With us being better, we have the luxury of letting Knox or Frank kind of groom and grow and bubble, unless you have to use him in a trade. I get it, but you have that luxury a little bit more now. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, just briefly to explain the Frank contract situation. Like you said, Sim, if they're not going to give him a qualifying offer, he's going to be a restricted free agent. So basically, if the Knicks brass are looking to sign guys and use that whole cap space, they're not going to give him a qualifying offer, because if he's going to become a restricted free agent, they can go over the cap to sign him to match that contract, right? So that would be, kind of stupid for them to give him a qualifying offer, and he probably is going to pick it up really fast. So they're going to lose the salary cap, right? Mm-hmm. So, for them, it's a smart thing to wait up and, see. And besides, I don't think teams are going to throw themselves at Frank day one, like minute 1 or hour 1 after the free agency starts, right? So the Knicks are going to probably skip giving him the qualifying offer, make him a restricted free agent, sign the guys that we want to fill the roster, and then, consider matching the offer that Frank can get on the free market. So, and then they can, think about, okay, he got 3-year, $5 million contract, 3-year, $9 million, whatever. Okay, we're going to match it. Okay, we won't. So I don't think he's going to get that qualifying offer.
I don't think Frank would demand a lot of money either. He doesn't seem like a very money hungry type of player.
I think so too, that he's going to be a really cheap option for the Knicks. And, as for a young player that could have, some development ahead of him, still, I think it's a no-brainer to keep him on the squad this way or another. So,
Right. Exactly. I don't think it's definitely not a foregone conclusion that he's going to be out of New York. You know what I mean? I just
don't think
there's a reason
why he hasn't been traded. I really feel like there's a reason why he hasn't been traded. Because they see value in him.
Yo, Andy, listen, I love that poster you got on the wall back there, buddy.
That's Frank Duncan tonight.
So
that's what we need tonight.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works out, because listen, they asked Tom Thibodeau about having Frank go play in the G League. He was like, no, I like having Frank here. He liked having him there. He likes having him here for a reason.
He's ready to go.
One, he's a good practice player that can play defense against these guys. That's one, right? But he knows that Frank could be ready to go if somebody goes down and he has to put him in, and he can come in and at the very least, keep the same intensity on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's what's most important to Tom Thibodeau right now. And then, hopefully one day he's going to, be able to get out there. Listen, his offense is coming along. He looked pretty smooth, come around the screen, boom, fade away, knocking it down. His release is tighter. He's not hesitating to shoot the ball. So, and listen, I was playing 2K21 last night. And for whatever reason, I'm cooking with Frank.
Frank's the man.
I'm cooking with Frank. I'm able to get a layup with Frank every time. My only problem is for whatever reason it hasn't updated yet. I'm waiting for it to update. And David Fizdale keeps throwing these crazy lineups in the game, because they still had David Fizdale on there for some reason. Kept throwing these crazy lineups in the game. I'm like, what's going on? Every time I have Frank out there and I'm cooking with him, they take him out and put what's the dude that went to Detroit? Wayne Ellington in. I'm like, why are you putting Wayne Ellington in the game? I'm cooking with Frank. And for whatever reason, I'm knocking down crazy threes with RJ Barrett, Josh. I don't know why, but I think because he shoots slow. So when he shoots slow, I'm able to line it up quick, and I'm like, bang, knocking it down. And play his face and everything.
You juked his numbers, juked his attributes. You juked him up, put him up to 100.
Nah, I did. I didn't do anything. I was downloading it last night. And, when you're downloading it, they let you, while it's still downloading, they let you play a little bit. And I was knocking down threes with RJ. I don't know why.
Hey, Sim, take the auto sub off the settings, and I think they'll let you make your own substitutions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just, I just wanted to get going and play a little bit, but yeah. I was cooking with Frank last night. I was going past everybody to the basket. I had Mitch come set me a screen. I go, boom, easy layups. Knock down a couple of threes with him. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
He had it on rookie mode.
No.
He was playing Isaiah.
Hey, how is Theo Pinson playing?
He's not on my team yet. He's not on the team yet. I'm waiting for the update with the updated rosters and coaches and all that stuff.
True that.
You know what I'm saying? So, I guess I'll see then, the way it goes. But anyway, as we take a look at the comparison between the two teams, as we said earlier, the Indiana Pacers are averaging 113 points per game, and I pretty much think that's on par from years past. I mean, not years past, from games past before Victor Oladipo was traded. Right, so they've been able to keep up that scoring production, but of course, their bench is a little bit weaker. The Knicks are averaging 104.7. And Carl, I'm gonna get to you in just a minute. The Knicks, they should be able to hopefully win that rebounding battle, although, they are kind of big. The Pacers are big with Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner down there. But the Knicks, right now, they average more rebounds, 47-42. The Pacers win the assist battle, at least on paper right now, 26.5 to 20.9 for the Knicks. The Pacers get 8.4 steals. The Knicks get 6.5. The Pacers get 6 blocks per game. The Knicks get about 5. And, of course, Miles Turner leads them in blocks at almost – he's getting like 3.4 blocks per game. They shoot about 47% from the field. The Knicks are shooting 45%. Both teams around 36.5% from the three-point line. Both teams shoot about 78% from the free throw line. The Pacers average 53 points in the paint. The Knicks are about 47. Both teams around 13 second chance points. The Pacers average about 14 fast break points, while the Knicks are at 8. They're actually up to 8 fast break points per game. Of course, they are led by Domantas Sabonis, right? Sabonis, he averaged 21.6 points per game. Julius Randle for the Knicks averages 23.2. Sabonis leads them in rebounds at 11.5. Julius Randle leads the Knicks at 11 rebounds per game. Julius Randle also leads the Knicks at 5.5 assists, while T.J. McConnell leads the Pacers at 6.5. Then you got Miles Turner and Nerlens Noel leading their teams in blocks, respectively. But that key matchup is going to be Domantas Sabonis and Julius Randle. Both players made the All-Star team this season. Julius Randle, his first time. I think Domantas Sabonis, his second time, because he was added after Kevin Durant was no longer able to go. That's going to be the battle to look out for. Of course, they should, as we said earlier, cancel each other out. And then we're hoping that Derrick Rose can cancel out Malcolm Brogdon. They can cancel each other out. And then we're looking for who's going to be the X factors out there. You know, R.J. Barrett, Doug McDermott, Justin Holiday, Reggie Bullock. Those guys are, you know, X factors. You know, hopefully one day R.J. Barrett's not going to be an X factor, but right now he is one of those guys that you just don't know. You know, off the bench, obviously we know what Emmanuel Quickly can do. I'm looking for Alec Burks to have a night. We need Alec Burks to, you know, hopefully last game, you know, got him in rhythm so that he can come in and if he could start to give us that 15 to 20 points per night, we'd be looking good. That's something that we were hoping on. Yeah. You know, if he could start to give us that, we'd be looking real good. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Yo, what's going on, Simmons? AK, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good about them Knicks. But, yo, I got a couple of questions.
Right.
About Frank. I love Frank. I actually wanted the Knicks to draft Frank because of his defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a defensive guy. But I don't think he's going to get the role when Peyton comes back. You know what I'm saying? Peyton is more Thibodeau's guy.
Right.
But I really love Frank. I know we're number 2 in defense, I guess, right now.
Yeah, 2 or 3, somewhere around there. 2 or 3.
You put Frank in there, we'd be number 1. But that's all I'm saying. You put Frank in there, we'd be the number 1 defense in the league without Peyton.
So what happened last game? He was in there last game, and we gave up 121.
You know, we laid off. We pushed the, you know what I mean? We don't let the break. You know, let them get their point. You know, that's how Knicks do. Tips like, yeah, let them score. We already up by 20 points. You know? So, but another question. I think there's a trade brewing. Nothing big. I don't want a big trade. I think Austin's going to be going to the Sixers for Kuzma, if I'm saying his name right.
Kuzma. Yeah, the guy that he can shoot threes, right?
That's what we need. So I think that trade. I don't think we're going for a big trade, Sam. We're going to get something small like that. We look in the off season to do what we got to do.
Okay. And I'm cool with that all the way around.
Me too.
I'm good with that all the way around. If we got to, you know, we're going to rock with what we have and we just do a couple of tweaks to the roster, I'm good with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I just hope anything that they do, I like them. Me, personally, I would like them to do it before or during All-Star break so that player can get in, get acclimated, and then they start the second half of the season with their roster in place. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have, you know, we're in the second half of the season and now we got this trade come through and now we got people that got to get used to this and that and the third. You know, I'd like to have it all done beforehand. We get a couple practices in and then we hit the second half of that season.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be around trade deadline. Not around trade deadline. I'm sorry, around All-Star break.
Around All-Star break? Okay. All right.
I think a trade's going to happen.
Okay. I'm for it. I'm for it. As long as we don't give up the future, unless we're making a trade, unless we're making a major trade, right, for some, you know, player that really pushes you ahead. If we're not doing that and we're just making a small trade, you know, to tweak the roster, I'm all for it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yo, I got the Knicks winning tonight, Sam. I'm seeing overtime. gonna be a tough game.
Overtime. Whew, okay. All right. I can see it. It's going to be a tough game no matter which way we go about it. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you, man.
No doubt. Yo, have a good one, man.
You too, man. Appreciate it. Peace.
One love.
Yep. It's going to be a tough one. Looking at tonight, right now, as far as any injury reports that I have, as far as the New York Knicks are concerned, Elfrid Payton, he's still day-to-day. He's got a hamstring. He's doubtful for tonight. Mitchell Robinson, of course, we know is out for the Indiana Pacers. Jakar Sampson, he's out. Karis LeVert, we know that he's out. And then T.J. Warren, he remains confined to a walking boot. And he's believed to be months away from making his return to game action, which could really, really hurt the Indiana Pacers. Right? And if everything remains the same, looking at tonight, it'd be Derrick Rose and Malcolm Brogdon facing off. Justin Holiday and Reggie Bullock, R.J. Barrett, Doug McDermott, Domantas Sabonis and Julius Randle, and then Nerlens Noel and Miles Turner. Two teams that look like they're pretty evenly matched as far as these lineups are concerned. I think the Knicks should have the upper hand when it comes to the bench. And, you know, the bench has got to come out and perform tonight. You know what I'm saying? Savvy, what's your take on tonight's game?
Man, listen. Every time we have one of these high-stakes games against the Pacers, I think about the 2012-2013 playoffs. And I think about that clean block, man.
Roy Hibbert.
I wanted to find something wrong with that block, but when they showed the replay, it was just too clean, man. Like, I was so hot about that. And to this day, I got poison for the Pacers. Okay, I got venom for the Pacers. I still hate that team. Right, I've gotten over my feelings about Paul George because of the injury and how he came back. I respect his game. You know what I mean? Roy Hibbert, you know, man was just doing his job. But the Pacers always rubbed me the wrong way. And tonight means a lot to me. I want this win so bad. I want this win like I need water, man. You feel me? Like, I feel like RJ Barrett and Doug McDermott, I feel like that's going to be a very important matchup. Doug McDermott has more season on him. He's got more certainty, and he can go off sometimes. And he can even sometimes do stuff that's like outside of his game that you don't expect him to really do, like dunk on somebody or like do something really athletic out of nowhere to show that, like, yeah, I could do this, right? RJ Barrett, he's still on the rise to me. You feel me? And I feel like nights like tonight might bring out the best in him. So I have a good feeling about RJ. I had a good feeling about him the other night when he had a horrible game, right? But I'm not gonna let that deter me from feeling like he's gonna do something nice tonight. If we can get the Alec Burks that we had in the beginning of the season, then we'll be fine. Because in the beginning of the season, the way he was playing, it looked like we was ready to roll out right then to the playoffs. Like, we'd be a heist right now if we'd gotten that consistent play from him, right? So
well, look, the first game of the season we played the Pacers and Alec Burks had 20 against the Pacers. He had 22 against the Pacers the first game of the season. And then the next time we played him, I think he was out the next game. The next time we played, he was out the next time we played him. So hopefully he can have a repeat, take advantage of that bench.
I'll say this, right? Our second unit has been doing well, and I feel like one thing that should happen as a result of Frank starting to emerge with playing time is that when he's out there, we should have, of course, Emmanuel quickly out there with him, but also Obi, because he makes Obi better too. And actually, when Thibodeau said that he didn't really have a role, I felt like it could be his role entirely to just be there to unlock Obi Toppin's game early on before we had D Rose, right? once D Rose came, he started to set up Obi, and Obi's been playing better ever since. But as long as we have Frank out there, we should have Quickly, and we should also have Obi out there. It definitely behooves us to do that because he's very complimentary to both of those players.
Right. Now, I agree with you. I do think that he's a guy that'll look for Obi a little bit more than others. And Savvy, just on you were talking about your venom for the Indiana Pacers. I've had venom for the Pacers dating back to Reggie Miller scoring 8 points in however many seconds.
Screw Reggie Miller,
and then grabbing his neck and looking at Spike Lee saying that the Knicks choked. I've had venom ever since then. Rick Smits and all those guys, man. A lot of venom for the Indiana Pacers.
A lot of venom for the Indiana Pacers and Reggie Miller. And Reggie Miller.
Yeah, and Reggie Miller too.
I can't even watch a broadcast.
Whenever I hear him on the broadcast, he's such a nerd. He's such a weirdo.
He's a loser. He's a loser.
Yo, he's such a geek. I'm like, bro, shut up. Like he makes these little jokes. Sometimes I'm like, yo, that was corny. You sound corny right now, Reggie.
Even better than him.
I still got problems with Reggie Miller. You know what I mean? The Pacers I just don't want to. First of all, the Pacers themselves, right? But even before we lost that game to Orlando, my position has been I don't want to lose any more games in the Eastern Conference.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard not to lose some more games in the Eastern Conference because we gotta play some tough teams. But
we played Detroit twice in a row at some point in the upcoming stretch. And that's going to be an important 2 games. Let's see if Dennis Smith Jr. doesn't go off against us trying to prove
that dunk was sick.
That dunk was nasty. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy for him, but I don't want him to do nothing against us. And then we played Brooklyn at some point, either before or after that. And I need us to perform well against Brooklyn. If we lose that game, it wouldn't tear me up inside. I think we play Philly one more time, but I don't want to lose games in the East like that because we need to really.
I know, but there's some tough teams we got to play, man. Big shout out to Bravo Mode 1982. He said, "How do you guys feel about D Rose so far?" We feel great about D Rose so far. We like what D Rose is doing, and
should have made a long time ago.
We coined the term last night on Divine's show, the Tibbs effect.
Yeah.
Right. Talking about players and, D Rose, however he was in Detroit, the Tibbs effect took over when he came to the Knicks because D Rose just knew what to expect from Tom Thibodeau. And, he's playing well defensively. He's doing everything that Tibbs asks for because he knows what Tibbs is about. And Bravo, he said, we Pistons got DSJ, and he's playing decent for us as a tanking team. Happy for both sides with the trade. Yeah, I think it worked out for both players. And I hope that Dennis Smith Jr. can reclaim his career and, become the player that people thought he could be. And then people look back and say, oh, we gave him up. But you know what? Sometimes it just doesn't work for a team. A team and a player, coaches, whatever. Sometimes it just doesn't work, and it's best for both parties. However it turns out, I think it's best for everybody.
It's like when you're friends with both people in a couple and they break up, and you're happy for both of them. You're like, you know what?
Right.
Yeah. You feel me?
Exactly.
So
I
need to be a part.
Yeah, I hope DSJ, has a great career and everything. And then Siobhan, thank you for the super chat. He says, stop the cap and use context. Frank wouldn't have snipped the floor if Peyton wasn't hurt and Rivers didn't complain. I mean, it's probably true. If Rivers didn't get, I don't know about the Rivers thing, but if Peyton didn't get hurt, he probably wouldn't have been out there. But hey, this is what happens in the NBA. Players get hurt, then someone comes in and takes advantage. That's how it happens. Right? That's how it happens. Get to this caller. Caller, you are live. What's popping?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
So talk to us about tonight's game. What you thinking? Okay, I take it that you don't have a thought on tonight's game. Because you don't have a thought whatsoever on tonight's game. One thing that I did want to bring up, and we talked about it a little bit last night on Divine's show, so I'm going to start with Divine. We talked about the impact, and then an article came out that Josh, tweeted to us about it. But the impact that Scott Perry and Steve Mills, I'm sorry, you got to put his name in there, the moves that they've made have had on this roster and what we have going on today. And I don't think that you can dismiss it, right? They've done some smart things over the last couple of years that have led to the Knicks being where they are today, right? Obviously, they drafted R.J. Barrett, right? They also drafted Mitchell Robinson. Right, we had a guy in Alonzo Trier. It didn't work out, but we thought that Alonzo Trier was going to be a diamond in the rough. They brought in Julius Randle, and let's be real, they were going to try to bring in Terry Rozier as well, and Terry Rozier is having a career year. Right, and what you notice when you look back at the things that they tried to do. It's very similar to what they tried to do, what the Knicks are doing this year. When you look back and they brought in the Bobby Portis and Wayne Ellington and Marcus Morris, they were trying to put together a team that can have a tough mentality, that can be physical, that can be aggressive, and that can try to compete in the Eastern Conference. They didn't have the right coach, in my opinion. Right? They didn't have the right coach. But that's what they tried to do. And so they gave these guys small one-year contracts. They were able to move Marcus Morris for a first-round pick, which ended up being Emmanuel Quickly. Mm-hmm. Right? They kept the cap. They kept the salary cap flexible for years to come. They did a lot of good things. Obviously, before even Leon Rose came aboard, they accumulated all these first-round draft picks, and then now Leon Rose and those guys, they flipped some things around, and now we got second-round draft picks as well. Right? I don't think you can understate what, and yes, you gotta add Steve Mills in there too. Some of the things he did as far as hijacking that, the press conference and all that stuff wasn't good, but they made some good moves that set the Knicks up to be where we are today. Divine, you want to comment on that a little bit? Then I'm going to come to Josh because, Josh sent us that article.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was so much that going on in New York, man, and all I guess how we say the back page and all that stuff, man. But people don't look at the positive stuff that organization has done. Scott Perry, I'm trying to tell everybody, that's why Leon Rose brought him back. Literally, why he brought that dude back, because him and Steve Mills, they made some real tough decisions in this sport. You got to make tough decisions. That Kristaps Porzingis, that was a tough decision. You know what I mean? That a decision like that can make or break a franchise. It really can. But they seen something that, we can get this for that, and let's just move on. Because and it worked out so well for them. The draft and the Mitchell Robinson, I think, was the key to me. You get a man like that at the 36th pick in the draft, and he's a part of your team. Is amazing, So I think Scott Perry, he just overall is a gifted guy. He's been around the league. He knows the game. He knows the business. He just one of them guys who's been around the game, growing up in the Detroit era, Orlando, Sacramento. Man. So I just think Steve Mills, say what you want. He don't make some of the great decisions, but he also made some good decisions. So I think that, along with the Tibbs effect, as we say, I just think we in a good place. They managing that cap flexibility. They making sure that we never, seem like we right now, so far, I know it's still early, we're not put in a bad situation. I meant to do that Moot Morris trade and get Emmanuel Quickly, a first-round pick, and to get Derrick Rose for a second-round pick in my man DSJ, who wasn't even playing. That just tell you how smart them guys are. Now that he done brought in a new regime around him, I hope the Knicks extend him, man. I hope they owe that man at least that to have 7 first-round draft picks, capital, good players, and he maintaining that. This organization never been in this situation since my man Scott Perry got here. And I've been a Knicks fan for a long time. I never seen that organization in a situation like it is now, where no matter what, we can make moves and it won't take away from our future. It won't hamper us. It only can make us better. So I really truly believe that Scott Perry, if the Knicks go to a certain place this year, you got to look at him and Leon Rose as executives of the year. You know what I mean? You got one guy making $19 million, everybody else making $6 million or $5 million or $4 million, and he got them do that almost at 500 fighting for a playoff spot. I think that's just a testament to what Scott Perry and Leon Rose and them did. And you got to give, like I said, give Steve Mills his credit. You know what I mean? And because they did some good drafting, and that's what I'm really happy about, the way we drafted. And I don't think Knox is a bust. I just think that right now they just not playing because they're not the caliber players that we want to play with this team. But that don't mean that they're busts to me. They might go somewhere else and blossom. But I think he picked up some good talent there. We don't got supreme talent, but we got talent. And I just think that you got to give kudos to Scott Perry, man. And I've been on his train since we got him. I thought the way he did it, I mean, to trade Melo and get Mitchell Robinson with a second-round pick, that tells you something. You know what I mean? He did his homework. He's smart, and he know what we need. So I big props to him and Steve Mills, basically.
Yeah, no doubt. And I remember when Leon Rose came on, a lot of people were saying Steve Mills is gone. I didn't think so. Someone I spoke to was like, nah, they people in the organization and around the league just have a lot of respect for Scott Perry. I don't think he's gone. And I believed him. I didn't think he was going to be gone. Now, his 1-year contract is up at the end of this season. We'll see what the Knicks do from there, or if another organization says, hey, because he's never been the main guy.
Run the basketball operations.
Yeah. Right. Someone could come along and say, hey, we want you to come run our organization. But Josh, you want to jump in on this?
Yes. I did want to bring that up, actually. I think Scott Perry, I don't think he's going to be here next year. Not that I don't want to keep him, but I think, he definitely deserves an opportunity to run his own basketball operations, become a senior VP or senior president or GM. Every organization has it structured differently. So if he goes somewhere else and becomes the GM, but also at the same time running their basketball operations, I would like that for him. I think that would be good. But I just want to say that, the reason why I sent you guys that article, because I wanted to highlight the fact that prior to the Knicks trading Porzingis, they weren't in a bad cap spot as far as the cap situation is concerned. They had space to sign a max guy. Them trading Porzingis and the rest of those guys they had on the team, that allowed them space to sign up to 2 guys. Now, I think after the Porzingis trade, everything that happened after following the Porzingis trade, I think was great, and that's what has us in the situation that we have now, that we are in now. But to me, I don't think the Knicks have won that Porzingis trade yet until they fully capitalize on the cap space they have and the draft picks that we're going to use, either by trading those draft picks away or drafting them and seeing what they develop into. But to me, until the Knicks actually bring in some max guys here or get at least one max player here, I can't say we've won that trade yet. Yes, we are flexible. We're much more flexible than we were before. But the whole purpose of that trade was to bring in some guys, to get some guys in. And so far, we haven't done that. Not to say that we won't do it, but that's just how I look at the Porzingis trade.
If Porzingis is traded from Dallas, right, they no longer have the prime player in the trade because they're like, we need to get rid of this guy. We don't like his contract. We don't like the he's high maintenance. You don't think the Knicks win the trade if that happens?
No, because who do we have?
Derrick Rose so far.
I mean, Julius Randle.
Draft picks.
Yeah, but no, but my thing is Julius Randle. Julius Randle wasn't the purpose of us getting that trade. He didn't come in to replace Porzingis. That's not what Julius Randle was. So we can say Julius Randle now. Now we have Julius Randle and we have the draft picks, but we still have to draft. We still have to draft those picks and see what they become. I'm worried about us. I'm not worried about anybody else.
But he did become the guy that you. The idea was that you were going to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
Instead, you got Julius Randle, and we thought possibly at the time, because the Knicks were interested in Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier didn't end up coming. They spread the rest of that money around. But you still ended up with Julius Randle with that money.
The Knicks had money before the Porzingis trade. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying
they could have gotten someone else to come play with Porzingis.
But it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been Julius Randle. You needed a power forward now that Kristaps Porzingis was gone. Right? So it was supposed to be Kevin Durant, but it ended up not being Kevin Durant, so then it was Julius Randle in place of Kevin Durant.
So, Josh, do you feel like the team that gets the best player in any given trade, regardless of what they give up, is the winner?
For the most part, yes.
Okay, so if they trade away assets, that makes their team perform worse in the long run, but they get a better player than any single player that was exchanged for that player. You think they win, even though they might go on to have a worse performance that season?
I typically don't look at the winning record or the records of that, because that doesn't really dictate, how well a player is playing. So I don't look at the records.
I feel like a lot of the sentiment comes from the impact upon the team's performance year after year of what we've done with the spoils of that trade, as opposed to any single asset that we got as a result. You feel me? Like
kind of.
Like we're not feeling like we won the trade because one single asset turned out to be better than whatever we got from Porzingis and what he gave to the Mavericks.
Well, I just look at the whole purpose why we made the trade in the first place, was to sign guys, to get 2 max guys here, and we still haven't got that yet. Now, there is potential for us to get that. We still have the money, but until we get that, then I can't say we fully won. You know what I mean? I like the fact that we have that flexibility, but let's get some guys. Let's start getting some guys in here. That's the next step that we need to do.
Josh, I disagree. I agree with you on the aspect of the money, but I disagree with you on the draft pick, because let's say this. We got 2 first-round draft picks, one this coming year and one next year. The fact is that, the fact is that we have 2 draft picks in this coming up draft. That gives us ammo to move up and get whatever player we want. So that's high value right there, because when you have two first-round draft picks, you can pretty much go up and down anywhere in the draft.
Nate, but we haven't done it yet, though. That's the point. We haven't done it yet, but we have the option now that we can do that if we want to. Like, let's say if we covet a player in the top 5 and we have, I don't know, a 10 or something draft pick and Dallas is around the same area, we can say, you know what, let's take both of these draft picks and let's move up and get our guy. We didn't have that. You wouldn't be able to do that with only 1 draft pick. So the fact that we have,
I mean, the way I see it, I look at it right now, right? This is about a year and a half after the trade, or something like that, right? You look at it right now with Kristaps Porzingis in Dallas, they're 15 and 16, right? The Knicks, without Kristaps Porzingis, are 16 and 17. And still, so they have the same records, basically, but the Knicks now have cap space and the draft picks.
And Julius is playing as good as KP.
Right. And Dallas does not.
Or better.
You know what I'm saying? After they've made this trade at this point right now, the Knicks have all of these assets, cap space, and all of this stuff, and they both have the same record. I mean.
And they got Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose wasn't part of that trade because we traded Dennis Smith Jr. for Derrick Rose, which he came from Dallas.
Yeah, so they have Derrick Rose.
So we upgraded our team with Derrick Rose, got 2 first-round draft picks, and still got that $30-something million that they give him Kristaps Porzingis right now. He not even playing. That trade to us, New York won that by a landslide. We rid ourselves of a player who's not gonna be worth that $150 million. Period.
He didn't want to be here.
So I mean,
won the trade, man.
I'll tell you this much, right? I'll tell you this much. They're getting more out of Trey Burke and out of Tim Hardaway Jr. than we ever got. I'll give them that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
that's true, especially Tim.
I'll give them that much. But Kristaps himself hasn't really panned out the way that they would like him to have panned out.
Julius played Kristaps Porzingis.
So,
I just think it's not done yet. We still need to bring in a max guy, and we still need to draft
and see how those draft picks
turn out. Or if we're gonna flip them draft picks for say Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, then I'm all for it. I just feel the Knicks have to bring in a max player. That's the whole purpose of why they did that trade, to bring in a max guy to come take this team to the next level. I like the way Julius Randle's playing. He's an all-star. You know what I'm saying? But we need to put somebody with Julius Randle.
I have to disagree with that, man. I don't think we got rid of bringing a max player.
That's what I was going to say.
Up that money.
We got to upgrade.
We didn't have to bring in a max player for him. We just needed to get rid of that contract. That man was about to get a contract for $158 million. I don't care who we brought in. We want to get rid of that money because I think that's what it is.
You don't save $70 million in cap space 2 or 3 years in a row to bring in Austin Rivers, bro.
But the thing is,
we got the money. We got the money.
We did a lot more.
The idea was to upgrade the roster. KD and Kyrie was one way. It didn't work out, but you still have the assets and the money to do it. So I don't think it has to be a max player, but we do need to upgrade this roster significantly. And I don't have a problem with saying the jury is still out. I wouldn't say we lost it. I would say we either won or slightly won, or the jury is still out. I wouldn't say we lost it. I mean, this team.
I agree with Divine. I don't think it was all about just getting 2 max guys. I think it also had to do with he's a guy that they were afraid. They know his injury history. They knew what his medical stuff was like, and they had their thought process that this guy is going to continuously be injured. We have issues with his brother and
he didn't even want to be here. He made it very clear.
Right, and all that stuff. You know, we don't want to deal with this. We don't want to pay this guy $30 million a year for 4 or 5 years, you know, and have to go through all of this. We think it's best to move on from him and get the cap space in return. And, by the way, not just move on from him, but free ourselves of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract and Courtney Lee's contract, because they had some bigger and longer contracts, to open up the space so that we can have the flexibility. And they still upgraded they still got better as a team.
Sam, I think you guys are right, but again, I think the jury is still out. And in addition to what everything you're saying about Porzingis, we drafted him. We drafted Tim Hardaway Jr. We had a chance to draft Dennis Smith Jr. So again, I get all that stuff happened already. That's all in the past. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, the Knicks had to make that trade. I just want them to get more bang for their buck. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I get it.
And I think
it's hard to get
when you have
value.
When you have $70 million, I just feel like you're not trying to sign stopgap players every year. You're trying to bring in some guys that can take this team to the next level. And so far, the Knicks have not done that. They've only got Randle, but we didn't know Randle was going to playing this good this season. I'm glad.
But they weren't able to, though. They weren't able to, and they kept the flexibility as opposed to feeling like you have to do something. They just kept moving it over to the next season until they find the players they want.
I'm happy with that, though. I'm happy with what they're doing.
And also, though, Josh, with Julius Randle, let's not act like they didn't think it could happen that he become an all-star. That's the reason why they put the clause in his contract that you get an extra $1 million if you become an all-star. If you remember, when they talked about him last season, they said, they talked about the possibility that he could become an all-star. So,
on the fringe.
It is something that they looked at and said, maybe this could happen, but we're not going to pay him like an all-star. We're going to pay him $19 million and give him the incentive to get there. Listen, there's still a lot that has to work out with this trade, of course. But,
I like the way they did that. I like the way they did it. Like you said, like Stephanie said, they want a Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Thank God they didn't say, well, being that we can't get them, we just gonna give it to anybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why I'm so pleased with this. Like, okay, no, we didn't Kyrie Irving, we didn't get him.
They wanted him. They were there the day one. They wanted to die.
Sign some mid-level guys or whatever to keep the flexibility until we hit that home run. And you gotta commend that organization for doing that, because a lot of organizations would say we can't get Kyrie. And this guy, we're gonna get this guy 30 minutes. He ain't even worth it. You know what I mean?
Not a lot of organizations. We did that.
Yeah, we did that.
Right. Exactly.
We did mistakes, man. So I think that was nice.
Let me get to this caller. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, Sim. What's up? Can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing? It's been a while. Glad to hear you.
JP, God bless.
Shout out to the panel.
Yeah, how you been? How you been?
I've been doing well. Thanks for asking.
Good, good. Glad to hear that.
How are you and yours? Everyone good?
Yeah, everybody is good.
Everybody good.
Everybody's good.
All right. So I've been listening to this argument. I kind of disagree with Josh, which I always do. But look at it this way. I'm gonna look at it from a Dallas standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, they make this trade with Luka in mind.
Yep.
I mean, they knew he would be good, but I don't think they thought he would have been this good, this fast.
Right.
Right? So they're like, okay, let's get a European guy to build together, right? So if you told Dallas 2 years later, meaning today, that they would have the same piece that they traded for, gave up assets for, meaning draft picks and a guy on a rookie deal that barely paid, what do you think they would say right now? I don't think the trade turned out the way that they expected to. Because it's one thing to play a guy who's making on a rookie deal versus a guy who's making $30 million a year.
Right.
And his main reason for being there is to help Luka. And he's not helping Luka because he's not available. The fact that you have trade rumors going around saying that they're looking to trade him tells you all you need to know. It's the same reason why you could blame Mills and Perry for when they traded him for not getting better pieces, but you can't get mad at him because we all knew that they didn't want to pay the guy because for this reason. And as much as I get our goal was to get KD and Kyrie, which we didn't. But if KP was still on this roster, I understand Justin saying we already had the one max slot.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have needed Julius Randle if KP was here. So essentially what you got to ask yourself is, would you rather Julius Randle or KP? In addition to Julius Randle with the flexibility, whether it's cap space or whether it's the assets. Now, we may not have gotten that quote-unquote star yet, but we are, as long as we maintain, as long as we don't do anything stupid with that money, we're always going to be in a position of strength because we could always strike at any moment. And let that Dallas trade be a warning, because if KP was not on that, if they didn't make the deal for KP, knowing what Luka is doing now, you would have had those 2 picks and all that money. They could have went after Beal. They could have went after Levine. They could actually went with somebody who playing defense. You understand what I'm saying? So let that be a lesson that you have to, when you cash in your chips, you got to cash in your chips to the right person, the right player.
Yeah.
Because you will be screwed.
Yeah.
So this trade has so many different levels. But as long as the Knicks don't lock in that money on something stupid, they will always be in a better position. Because once you have flexibility, you could do whatever you want. And I feel much better with the front office who's making the picks and who's spending the money. Now, if you're telling me that I had to worry about Steve Mills making the picks and spending the money, I would be a little bit more unease. But I feel more comfortable now. Because I think the Knicks this year has done what they needed to do. We needed to show that we had a good front office, a good coaching staff, that the young players are developing. You showing some kind of defense, some kind of togetherness. So in my eyes, whatever they do from here on out, I'm good with. And on top of that, that coaching staff, you got to give them a gold star because they made Julius Randle into an all-star. And you're talking to somebody who I was like president of the Julius Randle Get Him Out of Here Club. I don't know what the coaching staff told him, but he totally I guess he's just a different person. And that's kudos to him for actually listening. But it's kudos for the coaching staff to identify, this is your problem, this is what you need to fix. And we didn't have that last year.
Right.
So what is your take on that?
Right. The Tibbs effect.
If Josh is still there, you should have him answer the question.
Yeah, he's
because
still here.
Is always, we need a superstar. It's not about that. We are in a position. We were in a position. We were leading into a position where we're cleaning off our books. But that KP trade springboarded us to be in a position where we are right now. So as long as we don't make any stupid, catastrophic decisions, I think we're in a good spot. And I think this front office I think they will try to improve, or hopefully they'll try to improve for today, but at the same time, keep their eye on the future, which I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So let him answer that question, because it's not so cut and dry. There is that gray area, and they are trying to toe two lines where you want to make the playoffs, but at the same time, you still have to develop and stuff like that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
So you can throw that question to the panel and, let him answer it. What is your take on the situation?
Yeah.
Okay, so first and foremost, listen, I agree with you. I think that the front office that we have the right front office in play. Definitely, they're not making any crazy decisions. But like I've always said on many occasions, you can have a superstar on the roster and still develop. It's not an either or thing. Right. People think, just because you bring in someone, a max guy or a superstar in here, that you give up on development. No, you can do both simultaneously. And also, the Knicks just have a bunch of money at this point. That money is not turned into anything. They just have money until they bring in the roster.
As long as they don't do nothing stupid with the money's not going to go anywhere. They don't need to spend it tomorrow. They don't need to
do
spend
something
it the next
with
day.
it.
You got to do something with the money. You got to do something with the money. You just have money. Money's not doing anything except, we have the ability to go do it. But go do it. Let's go do it. Let's go do it. And I'm not saying
got to win.
What's the rush? I mean, what is the rush? Because like I said, look at Dallas' situation. They had Luka. Oh, we got this star. Let's rush and get a good star. They thought KP was a star and he's on the bench. So I understand that we have to. I mean, bro, everybody, including myself, we want to be good. We want to make the playoffs. I want to see a star. But at the same time, you got to be very careful when you cash in your chips. I do understand at some point they're going to have to cash in their chips, and that those chips have to be either using the cap space or using the draft picks. But you got to be very careful as far as to who you do that with. It's not just
there's no way to know ahead of time whether it's going to work out or not. You just make your best guess at the time.
Yes,
I'm sure if they thought KP was that this was going to be the case, they may not have done it. You got to, when we do cash in our chips, we're going to make the best informed decision we can at the time.
Exactly.
But there's no 100% chance that it's going to.
So I basically don't want them to make a deal for the sake of making the deal because they have that money there.
No, they won't do that. Right.
The money's not going anywhere. The key thing, you have to spend your money well. Like, okay, so you can have money in your bank account. Because you have the ability to spend the money, does that mean you're going to spend it? You want to spend it smart, right? And that's the key thing.
Your money. You want to
this is a foreign concept because this is something we usually don't do, right? I think we have our Knicks PTSD where, we got cap space. We need to go find somebody. Next thing you know, you sign in a Tyson Chandler. Or you're taking that money and you're getting yourself an Amari. So in a sense, we have to kind of do things different. So as long as I know the money is burning a hole in your pocket, but they still have to, you got to be smart with it, and do hope when the opportunity presents itself that it works out for us, because usually it doesn't. I have this thing where we sign a Levine, he puts that Knicks jersey on, and then he blows out his knee again.
But that could be anybody.
Like Bradley Beal, who's relatively healthy, he puts a Knicks jersey on and then gets injured. That's my PTSD that I have to work through.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of nice to see them. It's kind of nice to see them actually playing better than expected with this practically the same roster from the old coaching staff, and they're doing well. Now, when you look at that, the schedule, that schedule is a beast. That schedule alone is like, we're not making the playoffs with that schedule. But then, what's the worst thing that could happen? What happens? They don't make the playoffs, and then what? You get to utilize it you get to take advantage of the picks you have. I think we're in a good situation either way. Either we make the playoffs with the players we have, or if we don't, we get, I'm not saying lottery, but at least we'll be in a position where we have picks that we could take advantage of. So, Josh, relax, man. It's gonna happen. I do have faith that it will happen. You just need a little patience.
Hey, JP, we miss you, man. Thank you for the call. We miss you.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. Take it easy, everybody. Be safe.
All right.
Continue
you too.
success, Sim. And
all right. Be safe. Be safe out there. Talk to you later.
Set this man Josh straight right quick.
Josh.
I just want to win, guys. That's all I want to do. I just want to win.
I'm with
Josh.
you, man. I'm with you on that.
Next question, please.
Yeah, calling you live. What's popping?
I think it's all gonna work out.
Me too.
So what's up, man? I'm calling in. Look here, the New York Knicks, they need to take advantage. If the Knicks don't make the playoff, if we don't make the playoff this year, then goddamn it, that's gonna set us back another 10, 15 years. You don't make the playoffs right now with all this hype around the Knicks and everything going on, and you wind up not making the playoffs, finishing 11th or 12th seed again. That's just going. Everybody in the NBA gonna look at it as like, all right, we already knew that was a fluke. We saw them doing good last year, and it was a fluke. So I think we have to make the playoffs this year. You have to take advantage, and the key to doing that is going to get Bradley Beal. But I also think that you shouldn't trade nobody on this team as far as the future. So I think you should just trade 3-4 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and go get Beal.
I mean, first of all, I don't know if the Wizards is trying to trade Beal right now, but I think they at least want, and if they were,
they want young players.
They're gonna at least want one young player. You have to give up something. Right. You got to give up at least something. I mean, I agree with you. I would love to have Bradley Beal here, but I think along with those 3-4 picks, you're at least gonna have to give up one player. I think.
RJ.
I mean, I don't know.
RJ have a good game today, man. Hopefully, RJ scores 30.
Probably will. It's Indiana.
Man, look here. And this is the thing. The Wizards, all they have to do is, all that has to happen is if they go on a 4 to 5 game losing streak. See, what happened was they started winning games. Russell Westbrook woke up. He started playing a little better. Now they have some games and getting some W's under their belt. But if they go on a 5 to 6 game losing streak from today, man, the Wizards they gonna get them off their books. Cause why keep them?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We don't know what their thinking is. But I mean, I do agree. If they go, they all of a sudden start to hit a 5-game losing streak, then it starts to look like the way it did earlier, and then maybe you'll start hearing those rumors as things creep up again. But we'll see what happens. The Knicks, I do think that they are aware, that the Eastern Conference right now is so tight, and there are going to be some teams that make some moves. I think Josh was talking about the other day that make some moves to get themselves better, and they're going to have to do something, I think, because I think they do want to make the playoffs.
Well, I appreciate y'all time, man. I appreciate the show and everything, man. Salute
appreciate
to
you.
Y'all doing good. But I got to get out of here. I'm going to take you through more time.
All right. Appreciate you, man. I do think that they'll try to, make a move to, I don't want to say keep pace, but to make sure that they can stay relevant and stay within that playoff mix. But I do think that they always have the long-term, because I don't want to waste our capital on something crazy. I want it to be the right move. They've done a lot of the right things. I want it to be the right move. I don't want them to waste, like, for example, going out and getting DeMar DeRozan for like a first-round draft pick, to me, is a waste. And I'm not saying that that's out there. I'm just saying, like, something like that to me would be a waste.
Right.
It's got to be a good move, a smart move.
There's people in the chat talking about, well, if we bring in a Bradley Beal to play along with Julius Randle on this current team, that we're not going to beat Brooklyn anyway. So what's the purpose of in the playoffs? We're not going to beat Brooklyn anyway. And to me, I think that rhetoric is, to me, strong. I don't understand that because why even play the games? Why even go out there and play the games and compete every night? It's no point at that point.
You got to crawl before you can walk.
Right.
So my thing is, you have to put yourself in a position where you can be able to compete, okay? You look at the 90s, you look at Patrick Ewing. What was he missing? He was missing his second dude. It was just him out there with a bunch of scrappy guys out there playing basketball. And the Knicks, they didn't win a championship, okay? I love those teams. I love Patrick. I love Starks and all of them. But Patrick Ewing was missing his second dude. The Knicks have to put themselves in a position to be able to compete because you know what? If the Knicks don't go get Bradley Beal, Miami will, or Boston will, and then that's another team that's going to be in the way of us getting to that next level. So we gotta, get that mentality out of here that every trade is a Carmelo trade and sets us back the next few years. I just don't agree with that. The Knicks can be able to trade and be able to have their own and keep some of their assets. You don't have to give up everything. That's what I'm saying. It's different.
Right.
So,
and Josh, it's step by step, piece by piece. Look at Miami. They traded for Butler. A few of their guys popped. They was able to get into the final. Now, last year,
that's why they've been successful.
And last year was a special season. But you can look at a lot of different teams. They didn't just put a team together, incubate them, and then all of a sudden became contenders. They signed 1 and 2 pieces. Some of their young people popped. They brought in a free agent. They made a trade. They tweaked it until they got to championship contention. That's how you do it. There's different ways to do it, but we have that opportunity. So people are like, we should wait. Somebody in the chat said we should wait till the Nets windows close because it's not about the Nets.
Right. Somebody's next. Somebody's gonna be right after them.
Somebody's gonna be right after them. Right.
You get Bradley Beal on the Knicks right now. I don't know what people talking about. The Knicks won't beat the Nets. That's bogus. Because tell you why. To me, Bradley Beal cancels out KD scoring wise. They both can give you 30. Yep. Julius Randle will cancel out either Kyrie or James Harden. Here's the benefactor for us. Our defense is 50 times better than theirs.
I disagree, man. That's too much firepower against one team.
But they wouldn't be getting that against us because our defense is that much better.
They would.
It's trash, bro. But you know what? Listen, our defense, they're not going to score on us like they scored on them other teams. That's not going to happen.
We'll find out when they play.
Man, exactly. The truth. But if we had Bradley Beal and Julius Randle, I think them two cancels out 2 of their superstars. I really do. I think Bradley Beal and Julius Randle can give you what KD or one of them.
Yeah, nobody to match up against KD. Nobody to match up.
So Nate, are they guaranteed to win the title this year?
Yes.
They're guaranteed. They are guaranteed to win the title this year.
Yes, they have 3 of the best scorers in the NBA.
That does not mean we get that. That does not mean it. It does not mean that they're guaranteed to win it.
Okay.
When LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade got together, everyone guaranteed, yep, they're winning it this year. And the Dallas Mavericks beat them with
Who's
one
gonna stop
superstar.
them in the Eastern Conference? That's my question.
We said championship.
How bad is AD's injury? That's my other question too. Without AD, they're not gonna. Brooklyn's gonna wipe the floor with LA.
You got the Utah Jazz are the best team in the league.
The Clippers. You got Denver.
Man.
The Utah Jazz have lost 6 games right now. 6 games.
But you said yourself when they traded
7
for
games
Harden,
now.
you said nobody's gonna be able to compete with all 3 of these scorers playing at a high level. Yeah, and their defense has gotten better. It's not as bad
I
as
never said they was winning the championship.
Right. I'm not saying
it still remains to be seen.
I don't see anybody stopping Brooklyn right now.
You know what you got to think about too? You also got to think about their injury history, man. KD just coming off a catastrophic injury. Kyrie Irving stays injured. So I'm not saying the Knicks have beat them, but nobody. I care a lot. The Brooklyn Nets. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets gave up 147 points against Bradley Beal and
I get it, but when healthy, who is going to have the firepower to match this team?
But they won't be scoring that much, is what he's saying.
That's what I'm
if
saying.
there's a good defensive team, you're not putting up 147.
They've got Joe Harris. They've got Shamit. They've got that Brown guy.
So watch this. So watch this. Let's say for the sake of argument, you're right, right? Let's just go with what you're saying, that you're right. And wait for the Nets to fizzle out after a couple years. Who's going to be after them? Somebody after them is going to build a super team. They're going to be the favorite. So then why play the games, Nate? Why wait? Why play the games? We might as well just give the championship out at the beginning of the season. Here you go, Brooklyn. Here you go, LA. Why
you guys asked me a question. Are they guaranteed? I say right now they are guaranteed to win a chip.
I do not believe that they might win a chip. I don't believe that they're guaranteed to win a chip this season.
Right
they
now,
might get there
to win.
I don't know if they're guaranteed to win a chip, man. I can't say that they're guaranteed to win a chip.
Not at all. Not the way they play defense. Because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would give it to them dudes on the defense, and they would shut
but a lot of people cannot match up against Kevin Durant.
They would shut them dudes down, bro. I'm telling you. I mean, and Patrick Beverly, them guys would.
They gotta hope they get past Philly.
Right, exactly.
They're gonna get past Philly.
I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying, man.
Ben Simmons can't shoot, man. All they have is
but that's not true. They have to. Ben Simmons not even their second best player this year. It's Tobias. Harris.
But you're going to need Ben Simmons to get past Brooklyn, and he's going to have to be able to shoot, which he's not. He's shown he's not going to shoot.
He's going to be able to score.
Why do you need him to shoot? Why do you need him to shoot? Listen, Ben Simmons in the Philadelphia 76ers,
and he's an elite defender.
A basketball bounce on the rim away or going to the final when Kawhi Leonard hit that crazy shot. If it weren't for that shot, they would have been in the finals. So you can't say that because he don't shoot. He gave.
I'm just telling you matchup wise, man. I mean,
but can they hold him? Let me ask you
who's their scorers?
Ben Simmons is an elite defender, so he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna take one of them players out, but they're not gonna score their average. I'll tell you that.
Guys, I hate the Nets, but I'm just being real. What I've seen so far.
Listen, no one said the Nets ain't good. I'm just saying you can't pencil them in and just say and guarantee that they're gonna win a championship. Maybe they do, but there's a lot of competition that they got to go through.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? To get to that, to win that championship. You know what I mean? I mean, Philadelphia is really, really good. Joel Embiid right now is the leading, as far as the MVP rankings, he's leading in MVP ranking, right? The Utah Jazz are playing unbelievable basketball right now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And they are very, very good defensively and offensively. You know what I mean? And, you know, the Nets are good as well. They've won 8 in a row. But they still have to get to the championship and win the championship. The playoffs change everything.
The worrisome about the Nets outside of the defense is KD because once again, he's hurt again. And that is a problem ever since he had that first injury with the Warriors. He's been
So why did you guarantee them to win the championship then?
I said if they're full strength and healthy. You didn't hear that. Well, I'm just saying. You asked me a question. If they're full strength and healthy going to the playoffs, they will win the championship.
Hey, you know what? Well, when it comes, we'll circle back around to it then.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't think they're locked up. Hey, to me, offense.
Nobody is a lock.
Championship, right? I just think that you could score, but if you score 144 and you give up 145, don't mean nothing. To me, you score 144 and you give up the other guy get more than you. It don't matter how much you score. You know what I mean? So. I just think
I mean, that's I just don't think they're
You've got 3 prolific scorers on one team. That's never been. You've never seen that. Even with the Heat teams, those guys didn't score at the rate that these 3 guys can score. That's all I'm saying. And then they've got
Heat play defense though.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, and that Heat team won 2 championships. Mm-hmm. Right? What happened to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever?
I mean, I'm not saying that.
I mean, they won 2 championships because, you know, just because you put players on a team and, you know, they have a good regular season, everything changes. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks. They won 60 whatever games last year.
I just look at the Eastern
Miami
Conference.
Went to the championship.
I just look at the Eastern Conference, and the only team I see a threat to Brooklyn is the Sixers, and it's a very small threat. I see them getting out of the East easy.
Well, we will see when the playoffs come.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The playoffs change a lot of stuff.
So, Nate, how do you think the Knicks should go about bringing a star? And should we wait until Brooklyn fizzles out and then go after a star?
Here's a question I have for y'all, because I've been watching obviously a lot of Knicks games. What's to say and again, I'm just throwing this out there because what I've seen. What's to say a guy like Quickly can't be that kind of prolific scorer that we've been wanting?
How long is it going to take?
I mean, the guy can score at a high rate at very little shots and very little minutes. You put him in the starting lineup, you don't think he could score about 20 points a game? I mean, he can get it on the free throw line. He can get it to the threes. He can get it on the floaters. I mean,
you're not going to win a champion. You're not going to win a championship right now, or even be a championship contender, in my opinion. Even next year, with Quickly as your number 2.
No,
I think it's going to take some time.
I never said that. I never said that. But
so he can be that over time, 3, 4, 5 years. Yeah, he can be that.
That's what I'm saying,
Stephanie. I agree with you. It'll take time, but I don't think it'll take that much time.
Yeah, I don't either. He can already score.
But Nate, I'm trying to understand what it is that you're trying to get to, though.
Right.
Because we have Quickly on the team.
Right. So what are you saying?
So basically what I'm saying, because here's the deal. Okay, everybody talks about, we got room for max players, max slots. Let's be honest. Right now, the Knicks are kind of turning the corner as a franchise and have become more respectable in the NBA.
Right.
But the reality is I don't know who's going to be a free agent coming down the line. But honestly, do we have a shot at getting those guys, or do we have to trade for a Beal or a Levine? You know, but even with a Beal or Levine, I don't think that puts us in a championship level either. I mean, that
it's
puts
a
us
step toward it. It's
right.
But nobody is going to go from out of the playoff to 8 to 2. It's step by step, piece by piece. You add to it. Right. That's what all teams do.
Right. And just because you go
That's
get a Bill.
That's what Philly did. That's what the Nets did.
Just because you go get a Bill or a Levine doesn't mean you stop there. You keep going.
Right. You keep building.
And it doesn't mean that
if you go, Nets did.
Right. If you go get Bill or Levine, and then all of a sudden, you know, whoever, Kawhi Leonard wants out of the Clippers, you can trade a Beal or a Levine or a Randall or whoever to bring that person in, like, because these guys are good players, they're valuable.
Right.
Well,
right. You have to like everyone thinks that you automatically get stuck. Now, obviously, if they get hurt, then you I mean, but that's gonna happen. You got to take that kind of chance. But when you get a player, when you get a player like one of those guys, they also become a valuable trade chip if you need it. So if you say we have a chance now to get a generational type player, oh yeah, I've got to trade Zach LaVine so I can go get Kawhi.
Who's going to trade a generational player? That's my point.
They get AD
just got traded.
Look at Kawhi just got traded.
Yeah, Anthony Davis got traded to the Lakers.
Right.
I mean, it happens because sometimes players get disgruntled. They want out. This, that, the third.
Yeah,
I mean, it happens.
Kawhi got traded. Every day to get traded. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Let the Milwaukee Bucks don't do what they're gonna do in the next couple of years. Giannis might get traded.
No,
he might ax out. No. He may ax out.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He can ax out.
He's a loyal player. He's not going to go.
Nate, when you get up to a certain level in your career and you've been competing for a ring, you want that ring. You like, man, I've been trying to get over this.
If that was the case, he wouldn't have signed the extension. I really don't think.
Kevin Garnett did that, bro.
He signed it. Yeah, he signed it because they give him the most money.
Giannis loves Milwaukee, man. He wants to stay in Milwaukee.
But not just him, just in general. In general. There'll always be an opportunity.
Let me say this point, because if you look at the last two teams that have been in the finals in the Eastern Conference, you had Miami, who literally had one All-Star in Butler, and you had a lot of good young role players and players that they drafted. And then you had Toronto, who had no All-Star and no top player. And they made the finals. Yeah, it could have been the Sixers, but it was Toronto.
They had Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi was all-star. Kawhi.
You're right.
And Kyle Lowry was also an all-star.
Right.
Okay, but I guess outside of that, they didn't really have. They had
outside of that.
Pascal Siakam.
That same year, Pascal Siakam really emerged.
Siakam didn't really play that
as a great.
It was more.
No, Siakam did play well. He didn't play well once Kawhi left, but he played well.
But what I'm trying to say is you can follow that blueprint for the Knicks.
But there's a lot of
the Knicks have right. The Knicks have an all-star. They have good young players that we're still developing. And yes, we can always use more talent on this team. That's why I said before, we have 2 draft picks in this coming up draft. hopefully will be in the top 10 or around the lottery, and you can find it's going to be a good draft.
They're not going to be ready.
Let me ask you a question.
They're not going to be ready.
In a tight playoff game, who would you rather have going up against? Doc Rivers or what's the coach of the Nets? Steve Nash. If
you was in an easy one, Doc Rivers.
But that's what we be missing. That's why I keep telling you, everybody keep talking about the players. Tom Thibodeau been in those situations in the playoffs against some of the best coaches in the business. If the Knicks get in the playoffs, if they have Bradley Beal with Julius Randle and a couple of other, you cannot count out the Knicks because of Tom Thibodeau alone.
And you know what? To your point, that's what I think happened with Miami, with Spoelstra.
It was Spoelstra.
You know that they played over their head in those not over their head, but their game planning was on point, and they were able to execute it.
Yes. Right. And I want to respond to someone in the chat. I don't even remember who it was, but they said, these guys are just, like y'all are delusional or. But the point that we're making is not that we're going out and getting all these. We're not going to get Giannis and AD and Kawhi. Right. We're not talking about that. What we're saying is you add pieces and you build, and you get a chance to get a Levine or Bradley Beal, and you get better. Right now, you're winning 50 games a year. When someone and then a transformational player comes available, and you're like, hey, this guy is better than Beal or Levine or RJ or Randall. Now you make a move because you're winning 50 games a year. These guys, that you have on your team are more tradable, right? Now you can make a move to bring in one of those guys that can take your team to the next level, right? That's how Toronto did it.
Right.
They were right there with DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Well, we had to move on. We had to go get Kawhi Leonard because DeMar DeRozan couldn't get us over the hump. Right? Because he was that level of a player. So that's how you get your team to that point.
Right. You don't even know what the other options are going to be until you start moving up.
Okay, but is a Bradley Beal or Levine on the level of Kawhi Leonard? No.
But you add to them. There's different ways to win. So you can have three Bs.
If you don't have to have three A's. If you trade for one of these players, you're going to have to give up draft picks and you're going to have to give up young players.
We have. Okay, and which we have.
You got to make sure that this player is going to be somebody that's going to get you closer to contending.
How many more players? You don't think Bill is going to get us closer than we are right now?
Huh?
You don't think Bill would get us closer than we are right now?
I don't know. What is Beal's? How many more games do we win with Beal or Levine? I mean,
how many more games did we lose because we didn't have scorers?
Exactly.
I would say every single close game that we lost.
But let me answer the question. We have 11. We have 15 wins right now. How many wins?
16.
We got 16 wins.
Okay, 16 wins. How many more wins?
I think we would be right up there with Milwaukee. Milwaukee's the third place. I think we would be in fourth.
I think we'd be right up there.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And not just for this season, we would be staying there. So we would be a top 4 team in this league.
Adding a player like Beal, you're also adding on money on the contract, on your cap. You're also adding
which we
have. That doesn't matter.
We have the money.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is if you add a player like Beal, it's got to be somebody on a level of like a Kawhi or something like that.
Here's the thing. I think Knicks fans are so afraid to do anything. Afraid to do anything. Right before we wanted to trade for, or they were talking about trading for Derrick Rose. Everyone was like, no, don't do it.
I wanted Derrick Rose.
But that's my thing. Knicks fans are they don't want to trade for anybody because any little thing can mess up our chemistry right now.
But they complaining about Peyton. We don't want to spend money, but then we get these cheap players and we expecting so much out of them.
Exactly.
The bottom line is, if you're gonna have to spend the money to get players or be patient with the cheap little players that we have.
Be real. Exactly. No one wants to come play for New York right now. That's a big time player.
That's not true.
I
disagree.
We will see.
The Knicks at right now 16 to 17 is only 5 games losing more than the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets are 19 to 12, something like that. And we got a mediocre team now. We only 5 games worse than the Brooklyn Nets.
I get it, man.
I think Bradley Beal 30-something a game on the Knicks. Come on, man.
I'm gonna leave you guys.
Together on the floor.
Appreciate you, Savvy.
Listen, I am going to go ahead. I'm gonna let Savvy go. Then go ahead and wrap this up and get ready for this game. The game starts at 8 o'clock tonight. But go ahead, Savvy.
Yes, sir.
We gonna be on here till 8. It look like.
No doubt. Salute Knicks family. it's glad to finally be able to pop in on y'all.
Yes,
You know,
glad to have
it's a
you,
pleasure. Andy, Steph, always a pleasure. Josh, always love having you. Divine, I'm gonna show up on Knicks Real Talk one of these days, and I gotta get me one of them banners too. You know, Chop Low always in the cut. You know, and Simeon always, you know, on the ones and twos, mastering the ceremony. I appreciate y'all so much. I will say this exact conundrum is why I feel like I would rather make a move to get a marquee wing player than a guard. Because of what Nathan's talking about. If we get a marquee wing player, we don't have anybody really emerging to stardom at the wing position. I feel like if we get that, we can still leave some breathing and growth room for Emmanuel quickly to show us what he's really gonna be, especially going into his sophomore year, right? And then that way we don't really obstruct minutes from anybody young coming up. I mean, Kevin Knox is going to be Kevin Knox, and if somebody gets hurt, then he can still come in and give us some minutes. But he's probably going to wind up being in the trade that gets us the guy that we're looking for.
Right. And we'll still have our young guys. They just won't have the pressure that they have now. You know, they'll be a little further down in terms of what we need from them.
And we'll have our draft picks. We don't have to trade up our draft picks anymore. We have 2 of Dallas's.
So we should not be afraid to make a move because we just got done talking about a move that we felt like we won. So we shouldn't be afraid at all.
Can't be afraid, no doubt.
That, but you know,
and we can't doubt the front office. The front office. Look who we got running the front office. And everybody.
Savvy, before you get out of here, you got to let us know who you got winning tonight. What's going on tonight?
I was watching that Celtics game against the Pacers last night, and they almost took that one back. We can't sleep on them. That being said, they're on it back-to-back, and we're not. I feel like we can come out. If we punch them in the nose early on, I think we'll be all right. Because they're kind of, you know what I'm saying? They're tired. It's a home game. We got our fans in the building, you know, and we're more rested than they are. How many times this season can we say that about the team we're about to play?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think we can get this one right out, folks.
I like that.
All right.
Great take.
All right. So Andy, I'm gonna start with you, man. Just give us your take on. You've been quiet for a little while, but you know, give us your take on the game tonight because we're about to head up out of here.
Yeah, Sim. I hope we get a W. It's probably going to be a close game, but I still think we can get a win versus these Pacers. I also noticed that some people in the chat were saying that Brogdon might be questionable, so that would ease us a little bit of that game. But Sim, for my final words. Let me go back to JP calling in. Not for the first time. She is always talking with sense. That's why I would really love for her to join us on the panel. That would be an awesome addition to the show. Yeah, and like you saw probably in the chat, she has, like, after probably Mark, she has the most fans on the show. So JP, if you're listening, please, join us on the video chat someday. And that would be very cool.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely would. It would definitely be real cool. Divine?
Yeah, man. Great show, man. Great debate. I love the heat. I love the energy. I love the passion. That's what it's about. So, we got to keep doing this and bring this the night we need to fly tonight. But let me tell you, I hope the Knicks, I know it won't happen. We need to blow them out because we do got to get them all in Detroit. Blow them cats out. Let the starters rest. And before we can fly down to Detroit tomorrow and get that win.
I'll be a blow up.
You know what I mean? But we know that's not the case, but I'm always just hoping for the best. But, we're going to have a good game tonight, man. Knicks win that game tonight. We finally at 500. And I just think that we're going to come in there and bring our A game. I'm not one of them Knicks non-believers, man. I believe in this team, man. And our records are who we said we are all year long. I said if we are a 500 team, we got a chance to prove it again tonight. Let's go Knicks. Let's go get it. That's what we can come back on here tonight with the fire. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat. MBK always doing it right and always doing it up for foremost. Let's get it tonight. New York Knicks fan, let's get rowdy, man. Let's make it happen tonight.
Let's get it. Josh?
Wow. I think this game is going into overtime. I think that caller earlier or somebody else earlier mentioned overtime. I think this is that kind of game. It's going to be tough. It's going to be gritty. I'm expecting RJ Barrett and Alec Burke to show out tonight. But I think the Knicks fall short. I'm going to say the score is going to be 115 to 110 Indiana.
All right.
Josh, you're killing me, bro.
just to go to the just to go to the overtime thing. We didn't have an overtime game this season, if I'm correct, right?
Nope.
Yeah, but the Pacers had 4, and they are 3-1 in overtime games. So we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. Just make the last shot.
We don't want to go there. And Nate,
don't test the averages.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. Sim, I agree with you. I think after having an awesome offensive game, we're due for a dud. I think it's going to be tough shooting tonight, and I do have the Pacers winning too. I think that I think our shooting is going to struggle tonight, and it's going to hurt us. So yeah, it's going to be a close one, but I think the Pacers pull it out.
Okay. Now, well, and I'm not predicting that they're going to have an off night.
Right,
I'm just saying,
like
sometimes the law of averages come into play, and it happens that way. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, before I get to the game, Knicks fans, relax. Don't miss your next few therapy appointments. Everything is going to be good. We got a good front office. They're not going to do anything reckless. If there's an opportunity to upgrade our team, we are going to upgrade. And it's piece by piece, step by step. That's what all teams do. That's what the Nets did. That's what the Lakers did. So things can change quickly. So people who think that this is going to, no pun intended, this is going to has to be a 3, 4, 5 year process. It doesn't have to be. Things can change quickly in the NBA. As for tonight, I like our chances against any team if our bench shows up and if our defense is on point. And if that's always the case. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think we do pull it out. I think it's going to be a close one. And we need somebody behind Randall. I don't know who is going to be this game. Seems to be somebody different. We need somebody this game. And I need RJ to just be RJ. 2 games ago, I thought he was forcing it or whatever. Just be you. If your shot is falling, fine. If it's not, we still need you to play good defense and rebound, move the ball, and do the things you usually do.
Yeah. The one thing I was thinking about the other day with Julius Randle is it's becoming, at the beginning of the season, it was like, is he going to score 24 tonight? Is he going to have an off night? What's it going to look like? But it's becoming now, it's just about automatic. You don't even think about it. You know what I mean? When, he has 22, 23 points, it's not even special. You know what I'm saying? It's just become you just come to expect it now. So, that's exactly what we need. Hopefully we can get one of those other guys to step up. Chop.
You.
Yeah, man. We looking for your prediction for tonight. Because we heading out.
God bless everybody. Salute the panel in the chat. And touching on what Savvy said too as well. Like, I think maybe we could capitalize on a back-to-back, and we've been resting, yeah? Mm-hmm. So, Josh, I love you. I know. But I always say keep it under 100. Even if they go 105, I think, listen, man, we're going to get this. I think we got a taste of winning, right? Mm-hmm. I think them boys, they got a taste of, now my man is an all-star. Mm-hmm. That camaraderie, you see after when they doing what you call it, the presses, and they jumping in on the interviews, like, there's a camaraderie there. With the acquisition of Derrick Rose too, under Tibbs.
Well, I'll tell you what. If this can be the game, that they get over 500, right, and then the last 3 games of this half, 2 versus Detroit, 1 versus San Antonio, maybe we can open up the floodgates a little bit before we head out into, the All-Star break and get to the first part of the second half of the season. So, I think this definitely is a big one.
But hold up. Remember last year? I'm like, and in your mind as a coach, he was like, did he do the right thing? Remember, Fizdale took them to the Boston game. try to be a nice guy, but he was trying to show them how it looks to be in the playoffs, right?
Right.
But it's too friendly, if you will, right? It's a different situation now. Last year they was getting cotton candy, bro.
Right now, but see now,
Tibbs is giving them steaks and potatoes.
But see now, they don't have to, go to another playoff game to see what it's like. They're in the middle of a battle themselves, so they're getting it, they're learning it, man. Big shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys for being on. Ladies and gentlemen, the game starts at 8:00, so we'll be live about probably 10:30 for the post game show. All right. Until then, enjoy your Saturday. Spread love, ladies and gentlemen. We out of here. Be peaceful.